South Africa's Human Rights Commission is launching an inquiry looking at the increase in malnutrition-related deaths among children in one of its provinces. According to the Human Rights Commission, Eastern Cape's many children in the province are malnourished as a result of living in abject poverty.
The office has received various complaints and media reports about the death of children due to severe acute malnutrition. Now, this comes after the reports that the province's Department of Social Development forfeited an amount of 67 million rand of unspent funds to National Treasury in the previous financial year.
Earlier this year, statistics in South Africa reported that the number of people with a severe shortage of food had doubled from about 4 million people in 2019. The provincial inquiry into the right to food and child malnutrition is scheduled to take place on the 8th to 12th of August 2022. Now, joining us this morning is the Eastern Cape Provincial Manager for the South African Human Rights Commission, Dr. Eileen Carter. Dr. Carter, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning to you and good morning to the viewers.
All right, quickly share with us, how bad is the situation in the province, and do we have any numbers of how many children are currently suffering from malnutrition and how many may have died?
Well, the numbers are quite staggering, and that is exactly the reason why we've decided to launch this inquiry. Now, in respect of the province specifically, we have noted that approximately 45% of the people within the province are unemployed. Now, severe acute malnutrition comes as a result of hunger, and it means that families are simply not able to provide to their children and provide nutritious food to their children. So since we've started monitoring this very specifically from the start of the year, we've noted I think it was about 250 cases within the Nelson Mandela region alone of acute malnutrition matters being reported at the hospitals. So several children has died, and it also flows into a stunting concern where the numbers are showing that 25% of the children within the province are stunted.
Wow. And, this is quite staggering, the figures you've mentioned. The Eastern Cape is said to be one of South Africa's poorest provinces. How much is this contributing to these malnutrition cases?
Well, I think it has been exacerbated by COVID-19, by the unemployment rate. And we need to have a look at how we can very urgently curb this crisis. Because you would know that the international agreements that South Africa and most African countries are parties to, the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, all call for the best interests of children to be paramount in consideration of their needs. So we need to zoom into what is in fact causing this concern. In one of our complaints matters, the owner of a children's home indicated that out of 50 children who were admitted to the home, 20 suffered from malnutrition.
And that's really shocking. But there's also some other thing that has come up, and that is, some funds that were returned to the country's national treasury, about 67 million rand. Should such a province, which with, of course, such a massive problem that we're talking about now, be returning money? And do you think action should be taken against the officials that return this money?
I think that is what we aim to uncover during the inquiry, which will be hosted in the second week of August. We are calling stakeholders to the table to come provide information under oath to discuss why are we returning money to the fiscus when in fact children are dying of hunger. Now, when I refer to the international agreements, I also make reference to the Constitution of South Africa, which is one of the most progressive in the world. And we have a specific stipulation in our Bill of Rights, Section 28, which says that children have a right to basic nutrition. Now, we need to start looking at whether we are doing a human rights-based budgeting process, a children's rights budgeting process, when we in fact apply rules and regulations in terms of the fiscus. Why are we returning money when children are dying of hunger? But that is in fact the reason why we are calling stakeholders to the table. We've asked the Department of Social Development, Education, Health, as well as Treasury to come to the table and provide evidence under oath so that we can uncover what is in fact happening and why are our children in dire need of food in this province.
Well, these are important conversations to be had, and we do hope that the stakeholders will come together and that there will be positive next steps, which is why I'm about to ask you what the next steps are for the inquiry. When do you think that you will have findings to report on?
Well, I would not like to preempt the process. It is a very open process, and the proceedings will also be live streamed, so anyone can follow what is in fact being provided to the Commission. Now, based on what will be provided during that inquiry, the Commission can then make a recommendation or a finding in respect of the evidence provided. So the panel will sit, we will assess independently and objectively what has been provided to us against research, against the information that we have uncovered in our own investigations, and then we will make findings. But we do hope that stakeholders come to the table with solutions, with ideas, with opportunities, because we can surely no longer just sit back and let this happen, because our children are in fact our future, and we need to safeguard their needs and we need to address them urgently.
Thank you very much, Dr. Eileen Carter, for your time this morning. And we certainly will be following up with the story. We want to see how it turns out, and we hope that the inquiry happens soon enough and that the children in your province can't stop dying. We don't want to hear conversations about malnutrition in this regard. Thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you so much.